In the land of the Zuider Zee, where countless canals and rivers peacefully wend their way, we are particularly impressed by the modern craft which is fast replacing the antiquated boats that once plied the commercial waterways of the Netherlands. We say the land of the Zuider Zee, but this euphonious name is destined to pass into the annals of history, as the land from beneath it is being reclaimed so fast that most of the Zuider Zee will eventually be non-existent. Nevertheless, the name will always remain in commemoration of the industrious Dutch people who wrested so much of their country from the waters of the old Zuider Zee. In fact, nearly half of the country is below the level of the sea, and if it were not for the innumerable dikes that have been built as bulwarks against the sea, human existence in a large portion of the country would be impossible. Nestling securely behind the dike walls are the typical little Dutch villages, where the native people appear to enjoy a peaceful and contented existence. The dike walls are also the main streets for promenading, where one may see something of old Holland on parade. The odd hairdress of the children is practical as well as ornamental, for the lock of straight hair that protrudes above the eyes also acts as a sunshade. Of all the old fishing villages in the region of the Zuider Zee, or IJsselmeer as it is now called, perhaps the best known is Volendam, and it presents a picture to us that is reminiscent of some of the colorful movie sets that we have seen in Hollywood. This is Sunday, a very important day in the lives of the native people, every one of whom, if he is able to walk, makes it a practice to attend church. Volendam is one of the few remaining villages on the Zuider Zee where commercial fishing is still a major industry. Early Monday morning, the fishermen set sail from the harbor for the spawning ground of the Zuider Zee, or the waters of the North Sea. And they return regularly on Friday or Saturday in order to devote Sunday to their church and to their families. They are rugged types, descending from the ancient seamen of Holland, who went down to the sea in ships patterned after this ancient model. Known as Flying Dutchman, ships like this achieved world supremacy on the sea for Holland during the 16th and 17th centuries. This is the original model from which a Flying Dutchman was built over 300 years ago. About 3 miles off the coast of Volendam is the picturesque island of Marken, another quaint showplace in the land of the Zuider Zee. This island was inhabited almost exclusively by fishermen and their families before the separation of the IJsselmeer from the North Sea was completed. In recent years, however, many of its old fishermen have abandoned the sea and turned to farming. Although the reclamation of new land will eventually improve Holland's economy, there are many young fishermen who still look to the sea for their livelihood, and they are reluctant to give way to the new order of things. It presents a rather pathetic problem to fishermen who are gradually being deprived of the waters in which they have fished for generations, and we are inclined to sympathize with them. But the wheels of progress must move forward, and fishing in this part of Holland must pass away with the receding waters of the Zuider Zee. Even when Sunday comes and Daddy is home from the sea, it is his custom to lead his little family up to the wall of the great dike and direct their attention to the distant waters in which he and his shipmates spend so many of their weekday hours, fishing as a source of livelihood. But the little girl is one member of the family who will never have to go down to the sea in ships. Probably her destiny will be interwoven with the soil that supplants the Zuider Zee. Off the beaten track in the northeastern section of Holland's little province of Utrecht, we visit the colorful town of Spakenburg, one of the few quaint little fishing villages still remaining on the shores of the old Zuider Zee, or the IJsselmeer. Turning from the sea to the land that has been reclaimed from it, we witness something of what is destined to be developed on a much larger scale with the passing of time. Here at Staphorst, the people have already become farm conscious and are proving their ability to adapt themselves to the development of agricultural products. And with the changing of industry from sea to land has come a change in the architecture of the countryside, where the modest little seaside cottage has given way to the more substantial country homestead. En route to The Hague, we pass many historic old castles that have been converted into picturesque farm sites. And now we have arrived in The Hague, one of Holland's oldest and most famous cities, where the Queen of the Netherlands resides. Owing to its flat surface, most of Holland lends itself to the use of bicycles, and we were told that over 300,000 of them are manufactured within the country annually. Farmers cycle to their fields, policemen cycle on their beats, office workers cycle to their places of business, shoppers do their marketing on bicycles, and even the Queen herself is an ardent cycling enthusiast. Around the famous inner court of The Hague are the ancient buildings housing the various government departments and the old Hall of Knights, built about 1280. It is now used for the annual opening of Parliament. This historic landmark was also the setting for the famous Peace Conference held in 1907. Many other old castles throughout Holland have been converted into places of learning. This is a school for the training of diplomats. About 3 miles from The Hague, we visit Scheveningen, a unique seaside resort which is the most fashionable and popular watering place in Holland. Here again, we are reminded of the important part played by bicycles in a country where 8 million inhabitants own about 4 million of them. On this beach, the basket beach chair trade is a prosperous one, for nearly every family owns or rents one for protection against sun and wind. A unique type of lifeguard is the officer on horseback, who depends chiefly on his shrill whistle to recall the bathers who may venture too far out to sea. Here on the gentle shores of the North Sea, where once an ancient fishing village flourished, thousands of Hollanders find simple and healthful diversion. And here we find it's time for us to say farewell to the land of the Zuider Zee.